Patient, which is crazy. But that's what's going on. So,
Right, I'm on here now. So,
Canaanland family asked how we need to address it.
right, so how we do this? Um,
What share screen?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Share screen.
Yeah. I know, right? That's amazing. People be knowing that one.
No, don't worry about it.
Nom yo.
Oh yeah, no, you don't get
yo.
yo, right?
Shout out to B.
Oh,
Chiefy. He the
shout
one
out
brought
to
us into Buddhism.
shout out to my aunt. She did that back
Okay,
in
see, that's what
'88.
brought him.
Back in '88.
Yeah, wherever we can help God, that's what we do. We feel like we all in this together.
Oh,
Did you okay, you made it public. Okay, good.
I did.
Babe, let me just please.
Peace.
Why is not
I don't know.
what you do, baby?
I didn't do anything.
I'm gonna put peace and we'll see if it disappears. I don't know why it ain't disappearing. Greetings. Greetings, guys. Kingfish Pro. Greetings.
Brother D is in the house. All right, now how we do this?
Babe, I'm gonna take
Remember? Yeah, we did that before. It's gonna come in
I don't
backwards.
know what we're gonna do then, y'all, because we didn't do it a test run. We didn't. We didn't do a test run.
Well, you should know how to do it. You did this before. You helped me on how to do my screen, share my screen. You helped me before with that.
Yeah, baby, I had the cameras going together. That's how I remember it, y'all. Unless y'all got some suggestions, is there a way you can share your screen live on YouTube? But in the meantime, let's go with the idea that's on the table, which is pull your stuff up and I'll tape you. Peace, y'all. All these kings. Peace. Peace, love, and light, you too.
All right, we gonna get it popping here
I think
somehow.
we should get it popping. I really do.
I know, but I mean, I need to my stuff up here or something.
Okay, you go ahead on and do it.
How we did it before? We did it before.
Well, how long you gonna give yourself to figure it out? I don't know about it.
You don't. And you helped me with this before.
Baby, I tell you what I did. I told you what I did.
And we had it backwards. We did it backwards.
Yeah. And we also had the class in there too.
Right.
We was on free conference call. But that's people who were on the class.
Yeah, but how did I get the information onto here?
Okay, open up your PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay. Guess on the first page?
Yeah.
Okay, I got enough juice. Okay. But you in front of that window. So you want to slide over a little bit. Yep, slide over. Y'all, this is a flower that came from a angel's trumpet. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, make for breathe.
Hold on.
Okay.
Notice. Okay. All right. Try it now.
Called angel's trumpet, but it's also called devil's breath. Oh shoot.
On your thing. Get off.
Okay, the ancestors and took a libation from the copper cup.
All right, come on, number 2.
Let's see.
Plug this in.
That ain't gonna work, bro.
Plug this in. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, can you see it? It's backwards, though. Well, babe, you gonna commentate? They can see the picture.
I told you that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, this is further along than it was.
Maybe, how did I do it from
Yeah.
We did it before.
I'm showing y'all the roof again. We ain't got a chance to paint it yet.
It's all right, shaky. Yes. All right, let's see here. Shoot.
I'm about to go on Gmail and see if Cujo got any ideas.
Yeah, ask Cujo. Because he's supposed to be interviewing me, and I don't know how he's supposed to get on here.
Okay, let's write him. Yeah, conversation can't be loaded because now you in his Gmail. Security alert. But can we please just do it the way? I'm about to leave. Out. But oh yeah, one last thing. These are camellias. There's a whole bunch of them growing in the yard. This is the original green tea oil. It's high in omega-3 and 9. They're very healthy. It basically retards degeneration. Yeah, it retards degeneration.
Let's show them, Shake, so they can see what's going on.
This is it.
Okay.
Peace, y'all, from Canada, from Canaanland. Trying to figure out how to do this. If anybody got any suggestions on how to share your screen on YouTube, that'll be what's up. That's what's up.
Let's see, I don't think you can share your screen. You know, I thought sure that we did before.
Yeah. Babe, how long we gonna
Okay. All right, so the first question in which that
I'm gonna do it like this.
Ain't no need.
Ain't
no need.
Okay.
There's no need. No need.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna come in backwards. They can't see it anyway. It's gonna come in backwards. So what we're gonna do? Okay. So what we're gonna do is just do a freestyle since all right, the first question in which that was asked was Moorish Empire connection to empires that people accept as empires, such as the Songhai, the Ottoman Empire, and I also referenced John Henry Clarke's book. Now, the book that we're talking about is The African Columbus, or Christopher Columbus, and the Myth of the New World. The name of the title of the book was changed. It's Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism. That's what it is now. But in the book, it states, it must also be added that the Amerigo Vespucci on his voyage to the Americas witnessed the Mandingos of Mali and the Songhai Empire, later identified as the Moroccan Empire. So this is John Henry Clarke saying this now. All right, one of our greatest minds. All right, he said specifically that Amerigo Vespucci on his voyage to America witnessed the Mandingos of Mali. Now, if you don't know who the Mandingos are, or the Mandinka people are, then you slipping. All right, the Mandinka people are the same people in which that you refer to as the Dogon, who were the ancient Egyptians. All right, so it says the Mandingos of Mali and the Songhai empires, later identified as the Moroccan Empire, out in the Atlantic, returning to Africa, meaning that they was coming from America, returning to Africa. This is in John Henry Clarke's book, The Africans, Christopher Columbus and the Myth of the New World, also renamed Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery, and the Rise of European Capitalism. All right? So when people talk about, oh, the Malian and the Songhai empires, when they were really, as he identified, it was also the Moroccan Empire. So when people say, well, there was no the Moroccan Empire, all this is Kushite. The Malian Songhai were Kushites. The Moroccans were Kushites. So we talking about the Kushite Empire. And they was doing trade with their people here. Because remember, the Olmecs, who were also Mandinka, was already here 5,000 years, all right, before Christopher Columbus. 5,000 years before Christopher Columbus. So they was doing import and export with each other, the Mandinka, who are the Kushites, who are the Songhai, who are the Malians, the Dogons, who are the ancient Egyptians, Kemites, Sudanese, Ethiopians, as well as also the Moroccan or Morocco Empire. Now, the Mandingo originally came from the territory now called Egypt. And the Dogon and the Mandinka were one tribe prior to this split. The Dogons came from Kemet with the Mandinka tribe. In fact, the Mandinka tribe split with a fraction staying behind in Temeri or Kemet, Egypt. And they were known today as the Dinka people. So you have the Mandinka and you have the Dinka. All right, but they're Dogon. All right, they are descendants or ascendants of the ancient Egyptians, Sumerians. All right, so they told you that America was named after Amerigo Vespucci. However, if you get the book by Julio Rose, The Heritage Restored, in the book, he says the word America is how the Greeks called Meru, who pronounced it Amarukos. From the South American Indians, Tupac Amaru. The word America bears no relevance whatsoever to Amerigus Vespucius. This word is also borrowed by the Arabic language and is called Amir, meaning ruler, governor, chief, prince. All right? The Europeans' latest corruption of the word Maru reads Moreau. If Columbus, Cologne, discovered America, why then does Vespucci enjoys the credit in honor of having it named after him? So, who are the Maru people? All right, that America was named after. Well, you read the Maru of India literature is none other than the Maru, Sheba of the Sudanese, Sudan. All right, of Sudan, Ethiopia. All right, it says the four kingdoms of the Saka were Maga or Manga, Masaka, Mansa, as in Mansa Musa, which is the name for the king from out of Mali, and the Mandaga. The Mandaga are the Mandinka people. And it says the Manga, the Magi's or magicians, or the Maka, as in Mecca, all right, of the Persian inscriptions. It goes on and reads, these Mandian has a four-parent family connected with the ancient Mandi speakers of Africa, especially the Mandan, who often occupied the Dravidians, all right, and the pre-Dravidians were the Tamil people who were the Ethiopians, known as the Kushites, out of Middle Africa into Asia, right? This explains the close relationship between the Elamites and the Mandan languages. The Kushites and the first cousin Kushites, the Mandi kingdom line of the Olmec Asians, traveled to the southeast of the West Nubia, Sudan, and formed the ancient kingdoms of the Olmecs, the Mayans, the Incas, the Toltecs, the Arawak, the Carib, all right? On into South America. On into South America. So when you look at the word Maru, and you understand that these was Kushite people, hence correlating to what Noble Drew Ali states within the Holy Quran Circle 7, right? He states this specifically that, old man Kush, that we are ascendants of old man Kush. All right? Now, you go to Webster Universal Dictionary 1937 edition, and it defines American, because remember, I told you that American, comes from Meru, right? This is in Julio Rose's book, Heritage Restored, all right? Read the definition of American. An Aboriginal, one of the various copper-colored natives found on the American continent before the descendants of European settlers, right? They was found on this continent by the descendants of European settlers, or as we would say, colonizers. It says the following is the original application of the name Maru. Maru. So the name, we know for sure that the name America is taken from the original application of the name Maru, and I told you who the Maru people were. The Marus of the Indian literature is none other than Meroe, which was the capital of Ethiopia, or Sudan, as it is now called. Divided into 4 kingdoms, and the Mandinka were one of the 4. And it speaks of the Olmec of the Kushite Mandan line of the Olmec Asians traveling to the southeast of West Nubia, Sudan, and formed ancient kingdoms in what we now refer to as the Olmec, Mayan, Inca, Toltec, Arawak, the Carib Indians, or the Caribbeans. All of these were the Kushite people. This is hundreds and thousands of years before the Europeans. Before Amerigo Vespucci. Before Christopher Columbus. We'll be still around here debating if your ancestry was here. You sound like fools. The additional names and empires of the Moors. You need to do some reading. You have the Almohad, you had the Almoravid, you have the Atlanteans, the Aztecs, the Carthaginians, the Etruscans, the Hasidians, you have the Incas, the Iroquois, the Algonquin, the Lemurians, biblically the Moabites, the Olmecs, the Ottoman Empire, the Phoenicians, the Powhatan, the Persians, the Saracens, the Sumerians, the Turks. When you look at the British Empire, that was the British or Brutish Moors, the Yorkshire Moors, the Moorish Empire, the so-called Spanish Empire, that was us. The French Empire, that was us. The Holy Roman Empire, that was us. And it seemed like it's so hard for people to understand this. But John Henry Clarke said it best. He echoes the word of hope. We're searching for a nationality. That's the problem. But yet the Negroes won't tell you the truth. Stupid words. Negro colored and black. He said with stupid words. You have no nationality. Negro's not a nationality. Black tell you how you look, but it doesn't tell you who you are. Instantaneously. Land, history, and culture. Case closed. But we still want around here listening to these jackasses get on YouTube, read one book, and obviously hasn't read enough books and haven't watched enough videos, whatever the case is, whatever is going on is beyond me, because there is no confusion, there is no debate. Right? John Henry Clarke just finished telling you that black tells you how you look, but it doesn't tell you who you are. Well, damn. On the Tom Joyner morning show, President Barack Obama was interviewed. And Tom Joyner greeted him by saying, "It's our first black president of the United States." President Barack Obama replied, "Tom, I don't look at myself as the first black president because the word black has no standing at law." Wow. Now, this is a constitutional lawyer saying these things. So where did he get this shit from? When you go to the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition deluxe, and you look up black person, it tells you black person, according in Constitution and law, must be taken in its generic sense as contradistinguished from white. Rice versus Galloon, 139 Mississippi. Generic. You look up the word generic in Merriam-Webster dictionary. Generic says characteristics relating to a class or group of things not specified. Then it goes on, it says a consumer product having no brand name or registered trademark. Hold on. Let's deal with the first one first. A characteristic relating to a class or group of things not specified. General, common, collective, non-specified, inclusive, all-encompassing, broad, comprehensive, blanket, umbrella. A generic classification for similar offenses. So that's generic. And black person has to be taken in its generic sense, according to Black's Law Dictionary. Look up the word Negro in Black's Law Dictionary. It says the word Negro means a black man, one descendant from the African race, and does not commonly include a mulatto. So in order to include the mulattoes, they came up with the term colored. All right? So you look on your mother and fathers and their mother and fathers' birth certificates, you will see the word colored and Negro. Y'all say black. Now you got 3 generations in the same family. One is Negro, one is colored, one is black. And today's the children will be African American. So 4 generations in one family. The great-grandmother, the grandmother, the mother, and the child. 4 generations. You all got 4 different goddamn labels. But yet you the same people. Yet you don't mind being called black, Negro, or colored, or African American. Somebody need to make up their motherfucking minds up in here. And that's for real. Because we have lost our goddamn minds. You know, matter of fact, Dr. Collins said that. Many of us, by the way we act, we have lost our minds. So when you look at colored, it says this. First, let's read color. All right, because colored is past tense from color. Color says in appearance, semblance, a simulacrum, a distinguish from that which is real. A distinction or distinguish from that which is real. So that means that someone who was colored is not real. A prima facie or apparent right, hence a deceptive appearance. A plausible, assumed exterior, concealing a lack of reality. A disguise or pretext. Damn, and then you go down and guess what it says? The word also means the dark skin, dark color of the skin, showing the presence of Negro blood. And hence it is equivalent to African descent or parentage. Huh? So a deceptive appearance, a plausible, assumed exterior, concealing a lack of reality. So that means that you're fictitious. This is why you join groups such as the NAACP, the National Advancement Association of Colored People. When this just told you in law, the word means dark color of the skin showing the presence of Negro blood and hence is equivalent to the African descent or parentage. But yet it also means distinguish from that which is real. So if I had distinguished you from that which is real means that you're false, you're fake. That's the opposite of real, isn't it? Ungenuine. I'm not the one writing this shit. You got to take this up with Black's Law Dictionary. Black. All right. His name was Black. A European. His name was Black. All right. So it goes on, that color, it says, it has also been held that there is no legal, technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. Of course not. How can they? You coming in there as a goddamn disguise, under a pretext, concealing a lack of reality, an assumed exterior, a deceptive appearance. That's why they whoop your ass. A deceptive appearance? Oh, that nigga looks sneaky. Look at that nigga. He got on that hoodie. Oh shit. There. Oh. No, look at this. Look at this little. Look at the Negro. He looks scary. A deceptive appearance. Police brutality. Oh, I know. Oh, racial profiling. That's why racial profiling exists, because you have a deceptive appearance. Yes, that must be what that is. Let's go back to black person when we talk about generic. And it says generic. Remember, generic as a noun says a consumer product having no brand name or registered trademark. So what do? Since you Negro, black, and colored, you now come under artificial labels. So now they can patent you. They can copyright you. What did they do? They gave you the birth certificate. Gave you the birth certificate. On the birth certificate, in red is your bond number. At the bottom of your birth certificate is the banknote company that it was manufactured through, as it is a bond. The Federal Reserve Bank. It could be the American Banknote Company, the Midwest Banknote Company, but it's a banknote company, best believe that. And it's tied to the Federal Reserve Banks. Look on the back of your Social Security card, and it's attached to one of the 12 Federal Reserve Banks. Headquarters in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, oh! That's where it's at. All right? So, if you don't know how they got your birth certificate on lockdown, and there's something wrong. They got you on lockdown, right? You got the federal banks. Federal banks. Right? And they are connected through routing numbers. And I won't get too much into it, but if you look on back your Social Security card, and you have A, that's Boston. If you have B, that's New York. If you have C, that's Philadelphia. If you have D, that's Cleveland. If you have E, that's Richmond, Virginia. If you have F, that's Atlanta, Georgia. If you have G, that's Chicago, Illinois. If you have H, that's St. Louis, Missouri. If you have I, that's Minneapolis, Minnesota. J, Kansas City, all right, Missouri. K is Dallas, Texas. And L is San Francisco, California. Banks you are attached to via the letter in front of those digits, numerals on the back of your Social Security card. Okay? This is what is going on. All right? Your birth certificate was sold on the stock market. That's what's going on. It was put on the stock market and you were sold. All right? The New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street. All right? You was bought at a price. You was worth your weight in gold. All right? You got all these Negroes hollering and yelling on YouTube and ain't telling you these sciences. Ain't telling you what's really going on. They're giving you half-ass history. They not giving you no damn solutions. Just yelling, hollering about nothing. When you was born, your parents registered you with the government as a corporation. By receiving and signing the birth certificate, on the birth certificate, it says under your mother's name, informant. She informed on you. She snitched on your ass and made you a ward to the state. So now you were used as collateral for the government to acquire debt. So your labor, your time, your energy is what backs up the national debt. Your stock. Your stock. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. You don't believe me? Check out. You get your money, all right? Look on the front of your dollar bills and on your money. You're going to see one of the 12 Federal Reserve banks, A through L. And like I said, the headquarters in Puerto Rico. All right? That's on the back of your Social Security card. The original Social Security card was designed by Fred Happel, Happel, Happel of Albany, New York in 1936. The creation of the Social Security account was known as the CTQ Trust, which refers to a beneficiary having an equitable interest in a trust, which the legal title being vested to the trustee. Go and look up the court case Green versus Underhill. All right, the IRS is the accounting or collection division of the International Monetary Fund. Matter of fact, that number on the back of your Social Security card is called the IMF number. It is also called the prepaid levy bond number. Prepaid levy bond number. All right? The bankers, all right, who the company owes money to. All right? That's who it is, the International Monetary Fund, or the bankers who the companies owe the money to. All right? The World Bank, the Federal Reserve, all of that is connected. And they're all making transactions off your bond, your birth certificate, which everything is predicated on. Everything is predicated on that. All right? Everything. That's what's going on. Now, that number on the back is your the number on the front without your without your dashes. All right, ties to the back. So let's say the user name is the number on the front of your Social Security card. The password is the number on the back. And that's your exemption. It's the bridge between the private and the public side. On the front is the public side. On the back is the private side. All right? And the Social Security account is the strawman account and is listed in your strawman's trade name, not your true name. You don't believe me? Go and get the court case. Halverin versus Davis. That's Helvering versus Davis. And the United States Supreme Court ruled that Social Security is neither insurance nor a retirement program, but a welfare program. And because it is fact, because of that, basically, you find that the Social Security account number, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It makes you part of that Wizard of Oz scenario that I told y'all already about. The first person that Dorothy meets on the yellow brick road was the straw man, and he was looking for a brain. The second person she meets on the yellow brick road was the Tin Man, taxpayer identification number, TIN, tin man, taxpayer identification. In other words, these was artificial persons. Black's Law Dictionary. What is artificial persons? Look that shit up. Persons created and devised by human laws for the purpose of society and government as distinguished from natural persons. distinguished from natural persons. So that means natural persons are opposite to artificial persons. This is why Dorothy was trying to find her way home. All of you are Dorothy's. Trying to click your heels 3 times to get the hell out of damn eyes and get back home. Corporations are examples of artificial persons. And so are you, because that birth certificate became your brand and your trademark, which made you civilist mortus, made you civically dead, dead in the eyes of the law, dead in the view of the law. The condition one who has lost his civil rights and capacity and is accounted dead in law. This is razor versus razor. Black's Law Dictionary. You got to get it. You can't keep playing around with it. Otherwise, you be just like the straw man. And the straw man, because he was looking for a brain, means that he was a dummy. Uh-oh, why would the word dummy be in Black's Law Dictionary? Well, we come to find out that it says dummy, one who holds legal title for another, a straw man. So a straw man is a dummy. Court case, Hegstad versus Wasicki. All right? It says a dummy in its adjective form, because that was in the noun, one who holds legal title for another, a straw man. So a straw man is a noun. So they replace your nationality, which is as MOORS, with the noun straw man. Straw man is homo. They made you a homo. Straw man is homo. That's the Latin name for a man of straw, one of no substance, who put forth as bail or surety. Damn. Look up straw man. Think I'm bullshitting? Look it up. It's a front. A third party who is put up in name only to take part in the transaction. A nominal party to a transaction. One who acts as an agent for another for the purpose of taking title to real property. And that's exactly what they've done. They've taken title of your real person, of your real property, which is your person. Or better yet, your natural person, which is your body, and transform you into a corporation, an artificial person. This is what is going on. Y'all get this? So a person who purchases property from another to consider identity of the real purchaser or to accomplish some purpose otherwise not allowed. So a straw man is a front. When I grew up in New York, we always used to say, yo, son, stop fronting. Yo, son, stop fronting. That's what we used to say, stop fronting. So I'm saying, y'all niggas now, stop fronting. Stop being a tool. Stop being a dummy. Stop being a strawmiest homo, a man of straw, of no substance. Stop that shit. But if you keep listening to these fools out here who ain't teaching you shit, you will continue to be. I promise you that. You will die as that. The word dummy as the adjective says a sham, make believe, pretended, imitation. As respected basis for predicating liability on parent corporation for acts of subsidiary, agency, adjunct, branch, instrumentality, dummy, buffer, a tool. You know, them white boys say, oh, you're such a tool. That's a dummy. All meaning very much the same thing. This is Loudwindall versus Baltimore, an OR company. All right? This shit is deep when you think about it. And all that, you got no nationality. But yet you keep bashing Moors who got a nationality. That's amazing to me. You'd rather be Negro, black, and colored and have no nationality, but then bash Moors who have a nationality, who have put their documentation on the public record and have made a declaration, a proclamation. That is amazing to me. Right? I got to think about this for a second because this is amazing. But let's look at Lord Luke L., who asked Brother Saraswati about nationality. Let's look at that right quick. Who asked Saraswati about nationality? He don't got one. You want one? You all should want one. And stop playing these motherfucking games. All right, so Brother said he knows that African is not a nationality. Oh shit. I think I just broke the code. Once again, Brother Seti knows that African is not a nationality. Why? Because it's a continent. And you can't be from 54 countries or nations. Can't be from 54 nations. So African is not a nationality. I think the problem is that many don't know what nationality is. Maybe that's the problem. That's what it is. So back to Blackstone Dictionary. Nationality, that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with references to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. Well, the fact is that you can't nationalize nature. So therefore, there's no such thing as naturalization unless you are a foreigner or alien. And since we're not, that's why we've never been naturalized. You've never taken your ass to Paris Island, of Ellis Island, where the Ellis Island, where the Statue of Liberty is, and got your name written in the books. You didn't have to do that, did you? So a person who do not have a nationality means that they are stateless. Yeah. And you look up Merriam-Webster dictionary, we look up the word stateless, it says having no state, lacking the status of a national. Lacking the status of a national? A stateless refugee. See, those who don't have a status, those who don't have a nationality, you are stateless refugees. This is why during 2005, during Hurricane Katrina, the people was referred to as refugees. Remember that? Remember that? They. So, many believe that the 14th Amendment was fully ratified, but it wasn't. That means it takes you right back to the Dred Scott case decision. If you get Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition, and you look up Dred Scott case, it says the case in which that the United States Supreme Court held that the descendants of Africans who were imported into this country, and how many was imported? Less than 400,000 people were imported into North America as POWs. You can't say slaves because they're not from Yugoslavia. They're not Slavic. So Africans can't be slaves. They was POWs, prisoners of war. But only about 400 to 450,000 was imported into this country. But there was already tens of millions of us that was already here. And those 400 to 450,000 mixed in, all right, with the tens of millions that was already here. So if we're going to utilize the name African American, then it should be American African. Since the majority of the people was already here and it was from America. Then you have to ask yourself, why don't the European use the name, since we all come from Africa, why they not African European? Since you're African American, why the Asians aren't African Asians? But yet they all confess, based on Robert Leakey and Louis Leakey, who leaked it out back in the 1950s, that everyone comes from Africa. Why is that? So it says the United States Supreme Court held that the descendants of Africans who was imported into this country sold as slaves were not included nor intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, whether emancipated or not, and remains without rights and privileges except such as those which the government may grant them. The government granted you your privileges. This is why the federal government took over the state power of sovereignty. And the states no longer have that power. All right? All right, since that's so blacks are not considered citizens. They're still considered slaves by the government. Let me just say that simply and plain. Prescott case. Go and read it. It says a free Negro of the African race whose descendants were brought to this country and sold as slaves. But once again, every one of us was not born here, and neither were every one of us slaves. But they told you that you were in your school curriculum. Your public school curriculum told you that you were. They wanted to make you believe that you were. Why? Could it be because this land is your land, this land is my land? Could it be because they stole your land and then got the KKK to do a switcheroony on you and wear Moorish garb to terrorize you with, and then tell you to take your ass back to Africa when they know damn well that you was from here? Could it be? Could it be? So we know that the 13th Amendment allegedly abolished slavery, but that created a new problem. The newly freed so-called slaves were not citizens of any state or country. So this is what they told us. So since they grouped us all together and said that they got all of us from Africa and there was nobody here until, except for the so-called Native Americans or Indians, but they don't never tell you that you were the Native Americans, that you were the Indians, because the word Indi means black. So Indian means black people. They don't tell you that. Look it up. Look up the word Indi. I-N-D-I. Indi means black, dark complected. All right? But they don't tell you that. So, interesting. So the newly freed slaves were not citizens of any state or country because they were just property. And once again, like we said, property can't own property. In fact, property did not have citizenship. To solve the problem, they told you the 14th Amendment allegedly was passed. Now, this amendment created a new class of citizenship. This new class was legally called the United States citizen. Citizen was with a small c, not capital C. It wasn't the United States of America citizen, but just United States citizen. So anyone who calls themselves a United States citizen is federalized, because this is to show a lower class of citizenship. This class of citizenship is a privilege granted by the federal government and not a sovereign, unalienable right. So they told you that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States was ratified in 1868, and that it creates, or at least recognized for the first time, a citizen of the United States. That's when it happened, 1868. It just happened, 1868. All right? Just over 150 some odd years ago. And 3 years after the so-called slaves, POWs, as I refer to them as, were allegedly released from bondage. Of course, we know that many of the slaves, in Alabama, Mississippi, did not get the call, and some of them stayed as so-called slaves on up into the 1960s, and there's still slavery going on even to this day that they don't talk about. But if you get, according to the Black's Law Dictionary, the 2nd edition, and you look up citizen, it says all natives are not citizens of the United States. The descendants of Aborigines, that's who you are. You are Aborigine, right? Many don't like the term Aborigine, which Malcolm X really, he stated that. He said they don't really like using that term. Don't like using that term Aborigine. But you go back to the term American, it says American is an Aboriginal or one of the various copper-colored natives found on the American continent by the descendants of European settlers. So we refer to ourselves as the Aboriginal or Aborigines, at least that's, is a term that we have utilized in order to give or bring clarity to what is taking place with us. But it's a term in which that always classify as dark-skinned people. It's not a term in which that includes the Albion in any shape, form, or fashion. So that's the reason why we utilize it. And if y'all might remember, there was a senator not too long ago. His name is Scott Beason. All right? And he referred to us as Aborigines. And he had to come back later and apologize for saying it. He had to apologize for saying Aborigines, that we was Aborigines. That don't even make any damn sense, but he did. He had to come back and apologize, and then even got interviewed for saying it. And he said, look, I thought I already handled that. So that's deep. That's really deep, because senators obviously know a little bit more information, I would think, than the average person. And if he referred to us as Aborigines, Malcolm X referred to us as Aborigines, then we understand that we have Aboriginal roots. And it's not talking about in Australia. It's talking about right here in the Americas. And that's deep. And once again, look up Scott Beason, Beason, Beason. Come up. All right, Senator Scott Beason of Alabama. Alibaba. All right, or Alabama. Look it up. Right, and he says these types of things, and what gets me is that no one wanted to really say anything about it until it was like a little uproar. And they was doing, allegedly the FBI was doing an investigation on him and the people in his camp. All right. So you definitely want to look that up. Scott Beason. All right. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting, I must say. All right. Because that is something in which that you don't hear every day, is them acknowledging the fact that you are an Aboriginal. All right. Go and look up Malcolm X. Malcolm X spoke on us being Aborigines. All right, look it up. All right. You have to look these things up. In fact, it was the Black man's history. All right, look up the Black man's history. It was December 1962. 62. All right. He says those people who were here before Adam, and he always referred to these people as Aborigine, which means what? Black folk. You never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, and they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigines, but you don't like being called an Aborigine. You want to be called, nowadays, a United States citizen. Y'all take pride in that shit. But Aborigines actually mean from the beginning. The two Latin words, ab, meaning from, origin means the beginning, and Aborigine is only the term applied to those dark-skinned people who have been on this earth since the beginning of the universe. You know, that goes way back. What do you mean? Since the beginning of the universe. All right. So that's what Malcolm said about the term Aborigines. So that correlates perfectly with the term that we just finished reading about when it says that Aborigines are not citizens of the United States. All right, citizens. All natives are not citizens of the United States. The descendants of the Aborigines and those of African origin. So see, this is when they put both of us in the same category. The Aborigines are those who was already here. The Olmecs, 5,000 years. The Fossum, 75,000 years. The Washita, 100,000 years. The Twa, 2 million years. And even before that, we talk about a history of 600 million years right here in the Americas. You don't believe me? Get the book Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson. Then you have those who are the Africans who came and we mixed, hence the term African American, if that's what you want to say. But either way, we're still indigenous people because we're still the oldest people on the face of the planet. So it really doesn't matter. And it says the descendants of the Aborigines and those of African origin are not entitled to the rights of citizens. That Constitution does not authorize anyone but the white person to become citizen of the United States. Of course. Because with the passing of the 1868 14th Amendment, white people can be United States citizens because they're foreigners. They have to be naturalized. And it must therefore be presumed that no one is a citizen who is not white. Therefore, this is a marked difference between citizenship and heritage. But if you get FEMA, or what is referred to as the Rex 84 plan, all right, signed by Ronald Reagan in 1984, which was based on the King Alfred plan. It said that we would be formidable opponents or enemies. However, we are tied and bound to this continent by heritage. This is what is inside of the Rex 84, formerly known as the King Alfred Plan. That's what it says. That we, the so-called minorities, as they refer to us in their ass, which we're not, we outnumber them more than 18 to 1 on planet Earth. There's 2.5 billion of us on this planet. Right? Even the movie Black Panther told you that there was 2 billion of us on this planet. All right? There are less than 600 million Europeans. All right? Understand that. So we're talking about land. Look up the definition of land. All right? When you look up the definition of land, you have to look at some things here. Right? Remember, we just heard one of our greatest minds, Dr. John Henry Clark, say something very important. He said, what? He said, we are a people in search of a nationality. And when you find that nationality, it must instantaneously tie you back to land, culture, and history. Did y'all hear that? Y'all remember that part? Huh? Y'all remember that? That's what he said. So, if I look up, all right, if I look up land, you want to see something special. But before I get to that, let's go back to the Executive Order 14, 11490, October the 19th, 1969. This is the King Alfred plan, which, like I said, went to the Rex 84 concentration camps. Executive order number 11490 expanded. Right? This is what it says. Hold on, let me make sure that this here is plugged in. We're gonna keep getting everybody. All right. So this is what it says. The memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chief of Staff. This is from the Department of Defense. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minorities will be able to pull into the streets a superior number of people with a dangerous or desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to this continent by heritage, and know that the political asylum would not be available to him in any other country. If we was Africans, then shit. Why you never deported us and sent our ass back to Africa? Cause you know, motherfucker, that we ain't from Africa, at least not within the last 400 years. We was already here. The Olmecs, 5,000 years. The Folsom, 75,000 years. The Washita, 100,000 years. The Twa, 2 million years. And I can keep going further back. The greatest concentration of the minorities is in the Deep South, the Eastern Seaboard, the Great Lake regions, and the West Coast. This is what it said. This is what it said. All right. So that is phenomenal. Right? You have to understand that. You have to understand that. So when we look up land in the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, because we remember we're bound to this country by heritage. All right? That's what we are. We're bound to this country by heritage. All right? What is heritage? Well, let's look that up. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Let's look up heritage. All right, so when we look up heritage, you're talking about bloodline, essentially. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about bloodline. That's what we're talking about, the bloodline. So when I look up the bloodline or blood, you're talking about Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, it says kindred, family relations, relation by descent from a common ancestor. Noah's Webster Dictionary, 1824, says the fluid which circulates through the arteries and veins in the human body of other animals, which is essential to the preservation of life. It says the fluid is generally red. If the blood of an animal is not red, such as animals, is called S. sanguinis, or white-blooded. The blood being white or white taint with blue. So this blue blood thing is not even a good thing. When people talk about they blue blood, you have the royal family, they blue blood. That is S. sanguinis. That means they're not even part of the bloodline. Sanguinis. It says sanguine. This is Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Sanguine, all right, or Mary, or Murray. Murray. Blood, Moors, sanguine. Check this shit out now. It says a heretic term for blood color, called in the arms of prince, dragon tails, and in those of lord. It is a tincture of very infrequent occurrences and not recognized by some writers. It says, in carving, it denotes by numerous lines in satire, right? But it's heretic term for blood color. So sanguine and Murray. What is Murray? You go to Noah Webster Dictionary, it says the root of Moor in African of a dark red color. Oh shit. So that's the rights of blood, of heritage. That's the right of blood and heritage. You see? That's once again, yo. You got to understand what is taking place here. This is why they denationalize you. Okay? This is why. Denationalize you. That's what they wanted to do. And by denationalizing you, they was able now to take your land and tell you to go back to Africa. That's their whole thing, to tell you to go back to Africa. All right, this is what you hear the KKK tell you all the time. Oh, nigga, go back to Africa. Oh, nigga. This is what is going on. So you have to understand, all right? Civilist mortuus and in full life. Civilist mortuus, as we told you, is civically dead, dead in the view of the law. In full life means continuing in both physical and civil existence. That is neither actually dead nor civilist mortuus. You're not civilist mortuus, but you have been made to be, because they do not want you to come back into knowledge of self and come back into understanding, overstanding, understanding who you actually are. Right? This is, they don't want this. All right? So they want to keep you as an artificial, fictitious person. No blood. You get it? No blood. Because guess what? Buildings don't have blood. Corporations don't have blood. You see? So see, they turned you into a corporation, into an artificial person, a fictitious person. That's what they turned you into. Think about that. Think about that shit. Think about that. Natural person, Blackstone Dictionary, go and look it up. It means a human being as opposed to an artificial or fictitious persons, such as corporations. The phrase natural person does not include corporate entities, but the phrase person without qualification may or may not include artificial persons, depending on the context. Thus, the phrase no person in the 14th Amendment equal protection clause have been held to include natural and artificial persons. So see, the 14th Amendment turned you into an artificial person. Turned you into an artificial person. Damn. But the same phrase, no person, in the 5th Amendment, privileges against self-incrimination clause, has been held to include only natural persons and not corporations, since the privilege is personal and may not be asserted by an artificial person. In other words, a corporation can't use self-incrimination, non-self-incrimination of the 5th Amendment. You can't use it. Only a natural person can. So you look up natural person in the Blackstone Dictionary 7th edition, it says natural person is indigenous. Indigenous. Native, the original or natural inhabitant of a country, of or relating to birth, natural child. So you see that indigenous is the word gene, which means to give birth or freeborn. In other words, through blood. Indigenous means through the blood. unlike the word native, which refers to one's residence. So indigenous refers to one's direct ethnicity. All right? So if you're a natural person, that means you must have natural rights because it's based on natural law. But you get the Supreme Court case of Colorado. It says Colorado Anti-Defamation Commission versus case 380. It says natural rights. This was just in 1962. Natural rights, inherited rights and liberties are not the creature of constitutional provision. That means they can't dictate to you if you are indigenous or not. The Constitution is not your inherited, inalienable, unalienable natural rights, God-given rights are not, your inherited rights and your liberties are not the creatures of constitutional provisions, either at the national or state level. The inherited human freedoms of which mankind is endowed or antecedent to all earthly governments. Rights that cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws. Rights, all right? The rights derived from the great legislator of the universe. Thus, the only way the government can contract with you is if you waive your inalienable or unalienable rights, unalienable rights, as they say, and agree to be under their jurisdiction. That's the only way. All right? That's the only way. So you have natural rights as a natural person, which means indigenous, under natural law. Under natural law. And so your blood ties you back to the land via your heritage and your nationality. That's your status. But now look up land. Because remember, Dr. John Henry Clark said, your nationality must instantaneously tie you back to land, culture, and history. Maybe I need to play that again for everybody can get that shit. Let's play that one more time for everybody can get that. All right, one more time because I want to make sure that everybody get that shit. Because that's where we're getting these problems at, is that people are not doing enough research. So one more time. Say land, history, and culture. It don't relate to our countries. So, like I said, Negroes, keep being black. That's your fucking choice, bitches. That's your choices, bitches. You do you. But the point is, you don't have no land, you don't have no history, and you don't have no goddamn culture. That's the point. Sorry. You can't get past it. That's law. But see, you don't want to study law. You just want to scream black power and have no power. You just want to scream black power and have no power. Have no land. Have no culture. The damn social media. Facebook is your culture, nigga. That's your culture. But I'm following what the greats said. Dr. John Henry Clark said it best. Your nationality must instantaneously tie you back to history, land, and culture. So let's look up the definition of land in the Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition deluxe. Land, in the most general sense, comprehends any ground, soil, or earth whatsoever, as fields, meadows, pastures, woods, moors. John M. Clark just gave you the clue that your nationality must instantaneously tie you back to land, history, and culture. And when I looked up the definition of land, the word Moors is embedded inside the definition. Because land is the foundation of nationality. And the name Moors is synonymous to land. In other words, land and Moors can be interchanged. It symbolizes your blood tie and heritage. But of course, you don't want to have a heritage. You just want to go by his story. In international law, Negroes, black, and coloreds in the said United States of America are listed as stateless, i.e. landless. Get this point and stop the dumb shit. Because I'm going to crush you before this stupid shit that is going on. We ain't playing this no more. We're not playing with these Negroes no more. We ain't playing in no shape, form, or fashion any longer. You don't want to bear witness to the truth? Keep your monkey ass off my goddamn timeline, bitch. Stateless, without a state or political community, destitute of state or communal ceremonial dignity. See, that's why you can't get on here. You don't have no, that's why you stateless. You don't have no ceremonial dignity. You don't have no dignity. You see that? You don't have no dignity. So see, I can't expect for you to get on my timeline and have some goddamn sense. Because you want to be Negro, black, and colored. You want to be stateless. You see that? You don't want to have no goddamn ceremonial dignity. So that's when I'm going to act like a Negro, black, and colored myself and fuss and cuss your monkey ass out. All right? Because, see, this is the nonsense that we got to keep putting up with. You are the copper-colored people, the copper-colored natives, the Aborigines, the Aboriginal. That's you. All right? That's you. Now, you going to get this or not? All right? I'm talking for those who can get it. Even when you look up the word native, it says in Webster Student Dictionary, International Encyclopedia edition, it says native is born or produced in a region or country in which one lives. Indigenous, or of or pertaining to one's birth or to its place or circumstances. natural rather than acquired, inborn, of or pertaining to the original inhabitants. See, we are the original inhabitants of all the continents, because there was only us on the planet Earth before 6,000 years ago. Get this correct. Understand this. We already spread it out to all of the continents before the Albion was even made on the planet. And it says usually applied to non-European persons or peoples. So the European can't be native. So stop falling for these goddamn $5 Indians. They can't be natives. You understand? I'm tired of the dumb shit. I'm tired. I can do all the nice videos and y'all won't get this. But if I got to yell and go at you like Seti, then goddamn it, I'll do that. Until you can get this in your goddamn minds. I'm tired of the dumbness. We can't keep being dummies. I read you the definition of dummies. Go to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Go to the United Nations definition on Indigenous. Remember, we just read Indigenous. You are the indigenous people on the planet. Even the United Nations tell you that you are. This is what gets me. All this information, and you still have Negroes quoting stupid ass information. And you believing it and not getting it. Being proud to be Negro, black, and colored. Just proud. United Nations definition, indigenous. Those people having historical continuity with pre-invasions and pre-colonial societies considered themselves distinct from other sectors of societies now prevalent in the territories or parts of them. They formed at present a non-dominant sector of society and are determined to preserve, develop, and transmit to future generations their ancestral territories and their ethnic identity as the basis of their continued existence as people in accordance with their own cultural patterns, social institutions, and legal systems. Now you go to the Inter-American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. All right, September the 18th, 1995. Look up indigenous peoples. Look at the United Nations definition. Check this out. In this declaration, indigenous people are those who embody historical continuity with societies which existed prior to the conquest and settlement of their territories by Europeans. Now that's the first definition. It says, as well as people brought involuntarily to the New World who freed themselves and re-established the culture from which they've been torn. Now, those two definitions includes those who are the Americans, Aboriginal, indigenous people, i.e. so-called natives, us, as well as our brothers and sisters who came from Africa 400 years ago, all right, who was brought here 400 years ago. All right. All right. Now, if you ain't never seen olives, sorry, but olives are brown, black, and green. Olives are not just one color. See, obviously someone hasn't been eating properly for them to know that olives are variety. They are the colors, once again, of green, brown, and black. All right. Now, the brown ones look just like you. Your hue, your color, your complexion. So olives are brown. If you've never seen them, look them up online. Google that shit. All right, this is the age of information. Nobody should be stupid and dumb on my damn timeline saying stupid shit as usual. But of course, we get the usual. Because Negroes want to stay deaf, dumb, and blind. But you go take that shit somewhere else. Don't bring that shit over here. All right? So, in the definition by the United Nations on who are the indigenous peoples, they classify those who was already here as well as those who was born here 400 years ago. All right? Now, I still have a problem with what is with that scenario, the whole thing, because I know that they only bought, even Wikipedia take that they only bought about 450,000 here, less than 500,000 here. Even Wikipedia tell you that. I'm talking about to North America, that is. All right, they said the majority of the so-called POWs went into Brazil. All right, about 5 million went into Brazil. This is what is claimed. But yet, I have a problem with some of this information because, once again, the slave ships. I know the European and his mindset. You do too. You just don't want to admit it. You know damn well if they went to the moon, there would be goddamn McDonald's and Burger Kings up on that bitch by now. Same thing with them bringing us here on the slave ships. All right? If they brought us all here on the slave ships, then there should be a reconstructed slave ship in the museums, especially in the nations in which that they claim who brought us here. So if you go to the Smithsonian, the African American Museum, if you go to the New York Natural History and Science Museum, if you go to the Louvre in Paris, if you go to the British Museum in London or England, London, England, the UK, there are no ships. Now, the problem is this, is that yes, we know that the first ship allegedly was John Horsey Hawkins, who supposedly brought the first slaves here on the slave ship Good Jesus. This is what was told to us, no doubt. But once again, the fact is that there should be a replica, a reconstructed, some type of slave ships in the museums, because you know the European, he would love to put take our little children, babies through the slave ships and show them this is how they had us in chains. This is how they had us in chains. Put your arm up in here, Billy. Let's see how it fits. So come on, Tyrone, you can do it. Put your hand in there. All right, there. Oh my God, look at that. That's a perfect fit for you, little nigger. They would love to do that type of shit. I'm just saying, just think for a goddamn moment here. Just think. You know what I'm saying? When has he ever cared about your goddamn feelings? If he cared, then there would be no Black Lives Matter, would it? He don't give a damn about you and your feelings. He don't. All right? That's just what it is. Now, what caused all of this? The enslavement, the so-called enslavement of Ham's children, of the children of Ham. Well, that's the discovery of doctrine, or the doctrine of discovery, as they refer to it as. All right? You can go and read this joint. The discovery of doctrine is deep. Based on the discovery of doctrine, of the doctrine of discovery, the results of the federal law, the United States continue to deny indigenous people the recognition of their sovereignty and treaty rights in their own ancestral lands of North America. The indigenous people still have unalienable natural law rights to complete sovereignty as an independent nation. Remember, Dr. John Henry Clark said that we are a nation within a nation. But we are people in search of a nationality. So really, we don't got a nation then, do we? That's the only problem. In order to have a nation, you must have a nationality. to be a nation within a nation. We are a group of people in a so-called nation or corporation that has been federalized. Let's put it that way, because that's the realness of it. All right? That's the realness of it. So, indigenous people still have unalienable rights or unalienable rights, natural law rights to complete sovereignty as independent nations. This has never been refuted in American law, although the treaty laws have not been respected. All right? That's what's going on. So the United States Supreme Court formally wrote that the doctrine of discovery into the laws of the United States in the case of Johnson versus McIntosh in 1823. And Chief Justice John Marshall wrote, doctrine gave title to the government by whose subject and by whose authority it was made against all other European governments. Indian people are still denied their rights simply because they were not Christians at the time of European arrival. All right. So they were seen as what? Heathens, i.e. indigenous people, Native American, the people. It's still the law of the land today. Right? This is what was going on. So the doctrine of discovery must be formally revoked by Pope Francis. All right? That's the next step. That's what's going on. That's the next step. All right? Overstand for your rights to be, put it this way. Malcolm said it best. All right? Malcolm said, all right, in his speech, civil rights versus human rights. All right? He said, human rights come before civil rights. You can never get civil rights unless you have human rights. Human rights represents the rights to be human beings. Whenever you are respected and recognized as a human being, your civil rights are automatic. No, you have to get the recognition of human rights first. The Constitution classified people as 3/5 of a man, which meant subhuman, not a complete human being. And once our human characteristics was completely destroyed, this gave them justification for treating us like we were animals. Then it's also justified them selling us. If the black man human rights had been respected, he never could have been a slave here in America. And if his human rights has been restored by the Emancipation Proclamation, automatically we would have been citizens after the Civil War. That means the 14th Amendment never could have made us citizens. So we must be recognized as humans. Our human rights must be respected before we can ever be regarded as citizens, and our civil rights be respected. Now, this is Malcolm talking this shit back in the 1960s. But yet, 100 years before that, you told me that the that the ratification of the 14th Amendment was done, 1868. But here it is, almost 100 years later, Malcolm's still saying that we weren't citizens of the United States. Why was he saying that? Because he knew the same information that the MOORS are telling you today. But you don't want to hear that. You just want to be a jackass on somebody's timeline. So you don't want to hear that. Malcolm goes further. He says, convinced that it is the inalienable right of all other people to control our own destiny. Persuaded that the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights are the principles in which that we believe, and these documents, if put into practice, represents the essence of mankind's hopes and good intentions. Now, this is Malcolm saying this, yo. So we must take it out of the hands of the United States government. And the only way we can do this is by internationalizing it and taking advantage of the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights, the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, and on the grounds bringing it into the United Nations before the whole world body, wherein we can indict Uncle Sam for the continued criminal injustices that our people experience in this government. This is what Malcolm was saying. So you want to know the reason to internationalize and nationalize? Malcolm just told you. He just told you that we must internationalize. But you can't do that until you nationalize, like Dr. John Henry Clark told you, and must tie yourself back to the land. And the word within land that is synonymous was Moors. But see, we're not getting it. We keep missing the point. Okay? Keep missing the point. I don't know what's going on with that. All right? But we must nationalize, not naturalize. Right? When you naturalize, you lose nationality. Because to naturalize is a corporate act, as I told you earlier. Right? Although nationality can arise from nationalization, it must be understood that nationality arises only by birth of natural persons. Remember, you are indigenous. You are a natural person. Therefore, you can't be naturalized. The naturalization process is used to adopt alien, foreign individuals who do not have a nationality, which implies an unnatural and unnatural condition, and thereby must be granted a natural condition. Hence, naturalize. For Moors to naturalize will only apply a condition of not having a nationality. Our nationality was buried among clergymen and now under Freemasonry. But I also showed you it was the clergymen were the Vatican, the Catholic Church, through the doctrine of discovery. So our nationality was buried with them. But remember, also, the flag of the Moors, which is the cherry tree that they all told you about in school, they told you about that George Washington was 9 years old. And he went to his father and he said, I chopped down the cherry tree. I cannot tell a lie, father. I chopped down the cherry tree. The cherry tree was our flag of the Moors. And it's told to you that he did this. Okay? He did this. There's no doubt about it. All right? And you can look that up. You can look it up. George Washington, matter of fact, there's a book that you can get. It's called The Discovery of America, an outgrowth of the conquest of the Moors by the Spaniards. Hold up, listen to this title again. The Discovery of America and the outgrowth of the conquest of the Moors by the Spaniards. Now, go get that book. You need that book. All right? You need that book. Hold on, I'm gonna come right back.
All right, peace, y'all. What y'all think so far? Hopefully, you're getting a lot out of the information. Peace, Canada. Y'all deep up in there. Okay. Just being a placeholder. Oh, it was a good build. Okay, thank you, Sleepy. Okay, you want to know if you can get the name of that book again? Okay, somebody said the guy got them self-reflecting. That's the purpose. Yeah. Drawing it out of you. On fire. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Aleem is dropping. He bringing that and fire. Okay. Glad to see you, Brother Noah X. Oh, Brother Bog, thank you with the super chat. We appreciate you. Peace, Yuri. Peace. Peace. Y'all ain't saying nothing over here. Eileen, what was the name of that book that you just said? Eileen got a whole bunch of new books. Shoot. Mere to More, Kemet Until Now. That's a good one. Yeah. This is by Cosmo L. and the preface was done by Grand Sheik Victor Tyler L. The Secret Book of the Egyptian Gnostics. Eileen been going in on some books, y'all. I just figured give y'all some good little hidden treasures. The Lost Knowledge of the Ancient. Yeah, this is by Glenn Kressberg. Okay, and then some classics. Y'all know what they never told you in history class. Y'all know about that one. And then the Advanced Civilizations of Prehistoric America. But okay, he's back. All right, peace.
Yeah, let's get these. Yeah. My wife was breaking it down to you. So yeah, let's get this here. So right here, Before Atlantis by Frank Joseph. Lost Cities of North and Central America by David McRitchie. Well, excuse me, not McRitchie. David Childress, Hatcher Childress. All right. Ancient Egypt, 39,000 BCE. All right, by Edward Muskowski.
You got this book for $1.
Maybe how.
Damn.
Yeah. Discovery of the Mysteries of Ancient America, Lost History and Legends, Unearthed and Explored. Frank Joseph. America BC by Barry Fell.
Yay, thank you, Troy.
Right? Thank you, Brother Troy.
He also said something too.
Give me that. Let me see. Brother Leo. Oh, word, Brother Leo. Word. Thank for the love. Okay. Word. All right, right here. History is Wrong by Eric von Daniken. Forgotten Civilization. All right, by Robert Shaw. The Hidden History of the Human Race. This book right here, along with Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Cremore and Richard L. Thompson, tells you that you was here 600 million years ago in North America. All right, 600 million years ago, you was already here. And then the European tells you that you was only in in what they refer to as humanoid, Homo sapiens sapien, for the last 300,000 years. Get this book, Human Devolution by Michael Creedmoor. Get this book. Everything you know is wrong. And this is why I'm cleaning this shit up. Right? This is by Lloyd Pye. Get this book, The Mysterious Origin of the Hybrid Man. Forbidden History by Douglas Keon. The Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization by Anthony T. Broder. When Nations Gather, all right? This is by Sultan Abdul Latif. The Suppressed History of America. The Suppressed History of America by Paul Chirag and Xavier Hayes. These are just some of the books that I get my information from. I got a whole freaking almost 100,000 books right here. African Empires in Ancient America by Dr. Clyde Winters. This is what you need in your, these are books. Ask these Negroes to show you their damn book collection. I bet it's damn 3 books. Right here. Before Egypt, the Ma Confederation, Africa's first civilization. Clyde Winters. The Mysteries of the Olmec by David McRitchie. Now, I keep saying McRitchie, but it's Childress, excuse me. David Childress. Hatcher Childress. All right?
Ain't this deep? World order, the reptilian plan to divide and conquer the world. You got people dividing and conquering each other for no reason.
Uh-oh. Say it again.
Alien world order. The reptilian agenda to divide and conquer the human race. They got people talking about people for no reason. They on autopilot.
That's because they
tooting stuff up in their nose.
That's because they reptiles mentally.
On their reptilian
portion of their brain stem. That's why they can't see the connections, and why they can't see holistic view is because they relegated down to the reptilian portion of their brain, where it's always divide and conquer. That's the mentality that you're dealing with on planet Earth. That's the Negroes that you got in front of you, that you damn so happy about. Mark Meru Pinkham, The Return of the Serpent of Wisdom. Technology of the Gods, The Incredible Sciences of the Ancients by David Childress. And of course, you need my book, The First World Order.
And you need your institute, the Healing Wings Institute.
Let me hold these.
You did all of these.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You must have did these.
You did them.
I didn't do none of these. These are the ones I did. So right here, get this book, Faces in the Smoke. Faces in the Smoke. By Dugan Gears.
I didn't do the spiritual stuff.
All right. I'm not doing all of it either. This is Julia Rose. This is the books that I was talking about. Julia Rose's books. All right. Heritage Restored by Julia Rose. This is what I'm talking about. He's the one who broke down about America being from the word Maru. All right. This is why you need a study. And then B1 have all these goddamn arguments about nothing.
Couldn't nobody tell you that stupid.
Forgotten Civilization. Once again, by Robert Scholl. Ancient Future by my good friend, Professor Wayne Chandler. All right. And I think my wife done hooked y'all up with these right here. The Lost Knowledge of the Ancients by Graham Hancock, edited by Glenn Grisselberg. Right here, mere to more, Kemet until now. The etymology, phonology, semantics, and morphology of the word more. Y'all need this. This is by the noble Cosmo L. and Grand Sheik Victor Taylor L., who I just met recently. Good brother. The advanced civilizations of prehistoric America, the lost kingdoms of the Adena, Hopewellian, Mississippian, and Azanzazi by Frank Joseph. All right. And like my wife, I think she did show you this one, what they never told you in history class by Indo-Kemet Kush. All right. These are just some of the books, all right, that I came from. That I was, and also my wife wanted to make sure that you also know about our Healing Wings Institute. All right, where we got to heal you from every way possible, from the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual aspect. All right, this is our brochure. All right, little simple brochure catalog that y'all can get. You know, so we'll get right back into the info right quick. So, how do you nationalize or proclaim? All right, the process, you must have an affidavit of nationality, affidavit of declaration of status, an affidavit of truth, affidavit of facts, an affidavit of revoking power of attorney and firing of all of the trustees, an affidavit of common law name correction, an affidavit of common law non-taxpayer form, and witnesses, an affidavit of denial of corporate status, a baptismal record of live claim birth, and you need your nationality card. Now, all of this correlates to the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. See, some people have never read the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. So therefore, they just keep talking yang yang and then don't never help with the overstanding, you know, of people. They don't never get a full overstanding of what is really taking place. You know? And this is a real this is a serious disservice to the people. You know, and this is what is going on. This is a real problem. But yet, yeah, people saying that their teacher is Dr. Ben Yakinen. But I knew Dr. Ben, all right, for over 20 some odd years. I met Dr. Ben as a teenager. I was in his home in Harlem at 15 years old. He received a doctoral degree in cultural anthropology from the University of Havana, Cuba, and a PhD in Moorish history from the University of Barcelona in Spain. But they won't tell you that. So he used his Moorish history degree to flip it into becoming an Egyptologist or chematologist. Because guess what? There was no PhDs in Egyptology at that time. So what did he use? His Moorish history. His Moorish history PhD from the University of Barcelona, Spain. In his book, Cultural Genocides in the Black and African Studies curriculum, I talked about this in the debate between me and Sarah Seti. And he mentions that the Moors, first, as a few of the names we were called with honor by the ancient Asians and Europeans, thousands of years before the Western Europeans knew the Americas existed. So Dr. Ben stated that the term Moors were used thousands of years. And in fact, when you look at it, he tells you the first word he uses Moors. The last one is Africans. So think about some of this stuff. But once again, you wouldn't know if you never read. You easily fool. You wouldn't know that Americans as Indians, Indians as blacks, blacks as niggas, niggas as colors, colors as Negroes, Negroes as African Americans, all starring you. Even Chancellor Williams told you in the Destruction of Black Civilization that we was Moors. He says, now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were Black Africans. And amalgamated became more and more widespread. Only Berbers, Arabs, and colors in the Moroccan territory was called Moors. This is who Seti and all of them is talking about. The amalgamated ones. But the originally was not them. That was us. While the darkest and the black-skinned Africans were called Blackamoors. Eventually, a Moors was dropped and black existed. That's all was left from Blackamoor, was just black. And in North Africa, the Morocco, in particular, all Arab Muslims, mixed breeds, and Berbers was readily referred to and regarded as Moors. But the African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. Damn. Wow. That's deep. So when you put this together with Dr. John Henry Clark saying that your nationality must connect you back to culture, land, and history, and then Chancellor Williams, Dr. Chancellor Williams saying that even that name Moors we must contend with getting it back, utilizing it. Then you look up land and you find those connections, then it all makes sense. It all makes sense. But if you're not doing the research and the study, then you don't think it makes sense. You're off on a tangent somewhere, believing else. You Saint elsewhere, as they say. You're Saint elsewhere, right? You believe in what Jesse Jackass told you. Because you can't think about the fact of who you really are, but yet our greatest teachers have told us who we are. But you don't want to hear it. You just want to deny it. That's it. And that's a shame. So your nationality must be in a form of a affidavit. All right? Commerce in everyday life is a vehicle and a glue that holds and binds the corporate body politic together. So you have to deal in commerce. I know some Moors are like, well, I want to get out the system. I want to get out. I want to get out of corporate America. I want to get out. Nigga, you can't get out of nothing. Where you gonna get your gas from? Huh? Where you gonna get your groceries from? Huh? You ain't got no land. You ain't tie yourself back to no land. So you ain't going, you're not growing crops. You see? So there ain't no such thing as getting out. What it is you transforming yourself from Negro status to indigenous status. And you do that by way of an affidavit, right? Based on the 10 maxims of law, it tells you straight up what's really going on. In commerce, truth is sovereign, and truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. An affidavit is your solemn expression of truth. In commerce, an affidavit must be occupied, right? And must underlay and form the foundation for any commercial transaction whatsoever. Okay? People depend on your affidavit, especially if it's the truth. So your affidavit, right? This is how you do your nationality, is in the form of an affidavit. Truth, once again, is expressed in the form of an affidavit. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. An unrebutted affidavit becomes the judgment in commerce. In commerce, for any matter to be resolved, must be expressed. So you're not going to express yourself? Then there's no mind readers. Okay, there's no mind readers in this. So you're not going to express yourself. You're not going to say anything. You're going to stand acquiesce. You're going to acquiesce, which means you're not going to say anything. Now you can if you do it on the Fifth Amendment, for self-incrimination. But if there's truth in which that you need to be told, then guess what? You need to tell it. You need to tell that truth. And the way you can tell it is through an affidavit. Yeah, it's through an affidavit. All right, so that's what you want to do. Tell it through an affidavit. So your nationality, your declaration of status, your common law name correction, your common law non-taxpayer status, your live claim birth form, or what's called your baptismal record. All of these things have to be in the form of an affidavit. Point blank. Point blank. And so all your greats told you that I'm a Moor. Some of the Negroes ain't got no sense. All right. So all your great scholars have told you that you Moors. They even say they Moors. And you still bullshitting. You still bullshitting. I don't get it. That's a serious problem that you can't connect the pieces. Too busy jocking Negroes who ain't teaching nothing. Ain't teaching nothing. What are they teaching you? Except how to be Negroes. That's what I do know that they teaching you. Teaching you how to be Negroes, how to be black, how to be colored. They're teaching these types of things. Yes, they're teaching you these types of things in which that you have accepted and you just go along with it and don't have any problem, obviously, with it, which I don't understand that one personally. You know, I mean, anybody would tell you, 30 years ago in college, shit, I was down the most pro-black nigga on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And I rock African medallions, African this, African that. I rocked all of that. But as you continue studying and researching, you find that sometimes you got to connect dots. You got to put the piece of the puzzle together. All right? That's what has to happen. And that is a problem because you have people who's coming with the pieces, but it's not being put together by the masses. So the masses or jackasses are still quoting dated information in which that you need to be quoting the real information in which that is taught by our teachers. All right? That's what's going on. So, personally, as I told everybody, after I showed, now Dr. Ben is sitting in the front row at the lecture between me and Sarosu and Seti. And out of the two who were students, because we both been students of Dr. Ben, out of the two, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I didn't have to say it every second, but out of the two, I'm the only one who showed any reference to Dr. Ben, any information. He's sitting in the audience. I felt that that we had to at least, say something, relevant from his information. And that's what I chose was his information concerning the Moors in his book, Cultural Genocides. All right? That's what ended up happening too. So, to me, the debate was over at that point when I showed Dr. Ben's information. Dr. Ben was gracious enough to come to the lecture. Put them out of old folks' home. All right? And brought them there. Dr. Ben told me after the lecture, I don't even know what he was fussing about. The reason why is because he knew this information. He said he don't even know why we was fussing about. Okay? That's what's going on. So after he said that, there was no more debating for me. No need for it. Okay? So when you go to the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, it speaks of self-identification as indigenous or tribal shall be regarded as a fundamental criteria for determining the group to which the provision of this declaration applies. What that means is that you determine by way of your affidavits that you are indigenous, that you are tied to the land as a Moor. You do this. Nobody can do this for you. You do this. But of course, if somebody do it for you, sometimes you might have to give up some coins because you don't want to take your freedom in your own hands. Just make sure that it's done correctly. That's all. Tying you back to the land, changing your status or correcting your status, as we say. All these things should be done. All right? That's what's up. You want to get it popping in that regard. So study the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. These are what you need to study. All right? These are what you need to study. And then this will get you closer to the information of tying yourself and putting yourself, your wife, your children, everybody back into their proper status of who they really are. And not just Negro, Black, and colored. All right? So, in the Declaration, check this out, in the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, which was adopted and proclaimed by the General Assembly of the United Nations, December 1948, it says, Article 15, 1, everyone has the right to a nationality. 2, no one shall be arbitrarily denied or deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. So, technically, you can't change your nationality. However, you are constantly denied your nationality. This has been the fraud of the United States corporation the whole time. Is to deny you of your status. Bo Taboo, yo, appreciate you, Bo. Thank you, Brother Bo. Thank you, Brother Bo. Appreciate you. Thank you. I see it. Thank you, Brother Bo. All right, appreciate you. The love is strong, but everyone has the right to the nationality. So since the United States is a United Nations Council member, then this is treaty law. The Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People is treaty law, and it's international. And it correlates to Article 6 of the Constitution, where it states that the treaties are the supreme law of the land. It also supersedes the Dred Scott case decision. Did everybody just understand what I just said? I just gave you some of the best jewels that you can ever have. All right? So, Article 2 of the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People says indigenous people and individuals are free and equal to all other peoples and individuals and have the right to be free from any kind of discrimination in the exercise of their rights, in particular, that basis or their indigenous origin or identity. So nobody can discriminate against you for you reclaiming your indigenous origin and heritage and identity. Article 4, indigenous people in exercising that right is to self-determination, have the right to autonomy and self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. So when you proclaim yourself to be indigenous, you can begin to start having self-government, self-determination in a sense. Of course, we've seen what happened with, let's say, Black Wall Street back in the 1920s. All right? The proclamation of nationality is important. Article 6, every indigenous individual have the right to a nationality. 9, indigenous people and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nations concerned. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such a right. 13, indigenous people have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to future generations their history, languages, oral traditions, philosophies, writings system, and literatures, and to designate and retain their own names for communities, places, and persons. 18, indigenous people have the right to participate in decision makings in matters which would affect their rights through representatives chosen by themselves in accordance with their own procedures, as well as to maintain and develop their own indigenous decision-making institutions. So you have the right to form your own courts, to have your own indigenous laymen or lawyers, all right, as well as create your own embassies, your own law firms. You have the right to do all these things as being indigenous. All right? No, hell no. Love the cracker for what? Where you get that from?
Okay.
I ain't saying nothing about no cracker and nothing that I've been saying. I'm talking about.
That he is upset. He hates crackers. He said he hates white so bad he hates his teeth.
Damn.
He
all right.
His eyes.
Damn. Well, I mean, you know what Paul Mooney said about that shit. I say nigga damn 100 times a day to make my teeth white. But anyway,
I told him to hate him so bad that he don't buy his socks.
Okay.
He don't go to Walmart.
Right.
He created his own shit.
Right. Anyway, Article 24. Let's get to the real shit because me just hating the motherfucker ain't gonna free us in no shape, form, or fashion. Okay. All right, Article 24. Indigenous people have the right to their traditional medicines and to maintain their health practices, including the convention of the vital municipal plants, animals, and minerals. Indigenous individuals also have the right to access without any discrimination to all social and health services. Article 28, Indigenous people have the right to redress by means that can include restitution or when it is not possible, just, fair, and equitable compensation for the lands, territories, and resources which have been traditionally owned or otherwise occupied or used by the indigenous people, which have been confiscated, taken, occupied, and used or damaged without their free, prior, and informed consent. All right? 31, indigenous people have the right to maintain, control, protect, and develop their cultural heritage, traditional knowledge, and traditional cultural expressions, as well as the manifestation of their sciences, technologies, cultures, including human and genetic resources, seeds, medicines, knowledge of the properties of fauna and flora, oral traditions, literature, designs, sports, and traditional games, and visual and performing arts. They also have the right to maintain, control, practice, protect, and develop their intellectual property over such cultural heritage, traditional knowledge, and traditional cultural expressions. 33, indigenous people have the right to determine their own identity or membership in accordance with their customs and traditions. This does not impair the right of indigenous individuals to obtain citizenship of the states in which that they live. Indigenous individuals have the right to determine the structure and select the membership of the institutions in accordance with their own procedures. Article 35, indigenous people have the right to determine the responsibilities of individuals to their communities. Article 37, indigenous individuals have the right to the recognition, observance, and enforcement of treaties, agreements, and other constructive agreements concluded with state or their successors, and to have state honors and respect such treaties, agreements, and other creative agreements. Article 40, indigenous people have the right to access to and promote decision through just and fair procedures for the results on resolution of conflict and disputes with states and other parties, as well as effective remedies for all infringements of the individual and collective rights. Such as decisions shall give due consideration to the customs, traditions, rules, and legal systems of the indigenous peoples concerned and international human rights. So this is just a summary of the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. Go and do your research on the whole thing. All right, this is what we're talking about. You have to get yourself, in the proper understanding of what is really taking place. All right, on planet Earth. All right, so I'm out. I'm gonna say peace to everyone. I appreciate y'all coming on. I appreciate Brother Bo for hitting us up. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brothers, I should say, for the donations, for the chat donations and everything. Appreciate that. We really, is going to be doing this work. Already doing it. Look us up, United Washington, Digniy. go to my website, dralimlbay.com, and go look up United Washita, Deduct look up the reclamation process, look up all this information. You know, and when we're talking about the Canaanland Moors, I was the first, which Brother Cujo would tell you, I went into Canada. It was the first time, and I started teaching some of the information concerning the Moors. All right. Next thing I know, Brother Cujo was going hard, you know, and became Grand Sheik. It was going hard in Canaanland. All right, and still doing it. So, much love and shout out to Brother Cujo. Appreciate doing the forum. And this is just some of the information, you know, that we put out. Hopefully, we answered all the questions. I didn't get a chance to go back and look at them, but shit, we've been on here a long time. I'm pretty sure we answered them in some shape, form, or fashion. All right. Yeah, come on. Oh yeah. Got a born day coming up, April the 19th. So that's 9 days from now. But I'm gonna be at the Eric B and Rakim concert. So y'all gonna catch me there. You know what I mean? So Brother Yusef Matunde L. Oh yeah, Brother Yusef Matunde L. Peace, brother. And thank you for the donation, as well as also, brother, I believe it's your born day. So I got to give you a shout out. Because you are Aries. Aries up in the house, up in the building. You know what I'm saying? All right. And yo, we out. Peace.